Hello and welcome to this review of Hornby's brand new Terrier, and this is going to be an entirely genuine review because, as you can see, I've only just undone the box. Right, so I'll get everything out of the box, and there is the locomotive. Right, and there we are. So, a bit of history on the class then. The engines were designed by William Stroutley for the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, and 50 were built at the Brighton Works between 1872 and 1880. Officially they were called the A1 class, but they quickly gained the nickname Terriers due to their distinctive bark that came from the exhaust. They initially hauled commuter trains around South London, out of London Bridge and London Victoria. But when this became too much, they were replaced by the larger D class of locomotive and displaced to lighter workings on branch lines and shunting duties. As the class became less useful, around 23 were sold off to smaller railways such as the Kent and East Sussex Railway, the Isle of Wight Central Railway and the South Eastern and Chatham Railway. Between 1911 and 1913, a whole 17 of them were rebuilt into the larger A1X classes, as this one is, which had an enlarged boiler and better haulage capability. They were absorbed into the Southern Railway with the 1923 grouping and continued to work on lighter trains. The Southern, focusing heavily on their express services and on electrifying their suburban routes, allowed such veteran tank engines to survive in service many years after their expected life. Indeed, 15 members of the class were transferred to British Railways in 1948. They were given the classification 0P and remained in faithful service on smaller branches like the Kent and East Sussex Railway and the Hayling Island branch, and they were finally withdrawn in 1963. Overall, 10 members of the class survive, dotted around museums and heritage railways. They are fantastic workhorse engines and are well known at railways like the Isle of Wight and the Kent and East Sussex Railway. And if you want to see a video of a Terrier at the Kent and East Sussex Railway, check the link just at the top of the screen there. So, why is this model in particular so special? Well, Hornby have produced a Terrier for a number of years, and their old Terrier is an okay model. But this is their newly tooled and recently released version. And you might have seen on the television on James May's Trouble in Model Britain that Hornby released their Terrier ahead of Rails of Sheffield releasing theirs. So it will be interesting when that comes out to compare the two in quality and value for money. Hopefully this model will be the much needed update to the old tooling and will bring the standards of the Terrier models up to date. Right. So this is as we can see, it's this standard block of ice packaging. It's what Hornby use for almost all their locomotives these days, and very tightly fitting as well, so there's no chance of anything coming undone. So in the box you get the usual instruction manual, just tells you a little bit about maintenance of your locomotive, so where to put oil, how to take the body off, fitting DCC chips and things, and the usual stuff really, everything we'd expect from another locomotive. Get those all the time. And then nicely encased in this plastic sleeve is the model itself. So if we take that off, let's just move these out of the way. We can see we've got a detail pack here. This is the bag of detail, contains vacuum pipes, 2 vacuum pipes and 1 possibly a steam heat pipe. I'm not sure. I'm sure someone in the comments would be able to tell me. But either way, that's nice. I should be fitting those when the model eventually runs. And now the model itself is in here. There she is. Right, we'll start at the front. As you can see, there are numerous details along the front. There's the classic LBSCR tall lamp irons on either side, and there's already a pipe fitted to the front of the buffer beam there, which is strange because there's some supplied in the pack, but there we are. The smoke box door has a nice separately fitted handrail, and you can just see that there if I put it there, a nice separately fitted smoke box door dart as well. And the coupling at the front is a NEM coupling with a dovetail connection to the body, so that's very easy if you'd like to replace it. Looking down the side then, the paintwork seems to be impeccable. There's no marks or blemishes on it at all. It's nice and smooth, and the numbers are printed very nicely. The detail it's fairly nice. The clack valve is picked out there, and along the top of the boiler you've got two handrails running along, and the water filler cap there again looks very nice. The safety valve detail here is very nice, although they aren't actually brass, they are just painted, which is a bit of a shame, but for a model that only costs £81, that's not too bad. The whistle, likewise, it's not brass, it is simply painted plastic, but again, that's fine, as is the top of the copper plate around the top of the chimney there. There's a few rivet details, not too many because the boiler doesn't have very many on this, but it's nice to see them where they are there, and again, yeah, the detail is very good. Okay, looking to the cab side, and particularly inside that cab there, I don't know how well that's going to be shown on the camera, but the cab detail is really very nice. For a model that only costs £81, you'd expect there to be minimal or no cab detail, and actually there's quite a lot. Everything's picked out in gold or red. There's no dials actually printed, which is what you might expect on the highest quality models, but this is certainly a pretty nicely painted cab for something that's so much cheaper. The spectacle plates, the glass in the windows, it is actually, as you might be able to see through the back, it is in fact just one solid piece of perspex that goes from both sides, which is not the best quality way of doing things, but again, it's a cheaper model and that's fine. Once you've got a couple of figures in the cab, you won't notice that anyway. The rear of the model looks fine. There's a nicely printed number there, as there was on the front. The detail, the protectors here for the windows at the back, they seem to be fine, and you've got lamp irons as well. The buffers are not sprung, but again, that doesn't bother me particularly. The model is much cheaper than most of them these days, so that's fine. The coal load is, I don't know if it's removable or not, but it is reasonably realistic, so you could get away with just putting a little dusting and a bit of weathering on that and it'd be fine, but it's possibly removable, I'm not sure. The wheels appear to be fairly good. They're all the plastic inserts in the middle seem to be fairly good colour approximation. The brake rods are already fitted, and the detail on the pads is quite nice as well. And it's nice to see that down here there's a sanding pipe, and the same at the front here. That's quite a small detail. It's nice they've included that. And again, the couplings on the back are NEM couplings. The other side then is fairly similar to the last side. The quality is generally good. The paintwork is fantastic as far as I can see, not a single blemish. Of course, you've got the Westinghouse pump here, which has been nicely lined and detailed. But yeah, this side is fairly similar to the other side in terms of detail. One thing I should say about the size of the locomotive, it is actually quite a bit smaller than their previous model, and I will be able to show you that now. So as you can see, the model on the left is the old Hornby Terrier, and it is actually slightly larger. It's hard to see. It's easy to see on ground level, as I'll show you in a minute, but it is actually slightly larger. So the new model is actually truer to scale, which is quite an important thing because these are very small locomotives in real life, and so the size of it compared to another locomotive really makes a difference. So it's good that they've realised that, and that they've rectified the scale issue on the previous model. So as you can see, the one on the left is the old Hornby Terrier, the one on the right is the new one. It is slightly smaller and therefore truer to scale, and also it's quite good at this angle. You can notice the definite difference in detail. The detail is there on the old model, but it isn't very good. So that's a nice that Hornby have rectified the issues with the old model and fixed them in the new one. So obviously I can't comment on the performance, I've only just received it, but I do hope to get it running at some point, and if I can film that I will. If not, there are plenty of videos on YouTube, I'm sure, of the new Terrier running. So in conclusion, is this Terrier better than Hornby's old Terrier? Definitely. It's the detail is so much more refined. It's just a better model. It's got NEM couplings now, so you can exchange them for something else. It's got the lamp irons, which the previous model didn't, and the detail is just it's just notably more refined. Is it better than Dapple's Terrier? I don't know. It's not come out yet. That's the Rails of Sheffield and Dapple one. When that comes out, hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on one, and I can review that alongside this one. But it's definitely a much needed update to Hornby's old Terrier. It was really starting to age. The motor wasn't so good on the old one. In fact, my one burnt out the moment I started it and had to get it returned and replaced. So hopefully these models really live up to the standard that we expect these days. And they're not the highest quality models. You know, the CAD detail is there, but it's not perfect. And the clap valves, for instance, the safety valves and the whistle, they're just painted plastic. They're not little bits of brass, as you might expect. The buffers aren't sprung. But those are small details, and Hornby have saved money in the manufacture of this, which is good, because that means that this retails for only £81 at Hatton's, and £81 is monumentally cheaper than most models these days. When you're looking at £150, £160 for a steam express engine, and in fact even some Terriers retailing £110, to get one for £81 these days is brilliant. So I think Hornby have done a really good job of getting a model out efficiently with a moderate level of detail and at a fantastic price. And for that reason I'd really say it's a fantastic model. Okay, yeah, the detail might not be pristine and perfect and the standard we expect these days of a high quality model, but for the price you pay, it is fantastic value for money. It is really, really good, and price is a huge factor in the model industry these days, and everything's going up, as you know. So to get something for £81 that's as good as this is really a fantastic buy, and I recommend that you all go and buy one before they sell out at Hatton's. It's only £81. The sound fitted versions are coming out later this year, and I really think that anyone who runs a layout set on a preserved railway needs a Terrier, or one set in the south of England at any point between 1880 and 1963 needs a Terrier. So I definitely advise you get one, simply because of the value for money that they provide. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, then please leave a like, leave a comment, share the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you